right, we are back on the record. State of Florida versus Aaron Malone, case number 21 CF 2405. Mr. Malone, counsel present. Mr. Miller for the state. What's the status of states 13?
Judge, the state is giving me a redacted copy of the recovered track. My only issue and concern is when you look at the date, it's not necessarily the date from time. When you look at the time that's listed on the recovered track, it doesn't jive with the time of the accident.
It's UTC time.
It's UTC time.
Minus 4 hours.
Right. So I'm assuming that he's going to clear that up.
Yes.
All right. Other than the time not being our time or something, so you will certainly make that clear so they understand.
Absolutely.
Some discrepancy.
Right.
All right.
And if you could, I intend to, in publishing this is just a bunch of numbers on a page. I'm going to put that up, but I've also plotted those GPS points that are relevant to her, basically the first point after she leaves the house to the scene of the crash to her at her apartment on a map, Google Maps. I put in the coordinates so that way we get a.
Can you put it up? So
Yes, sir.
Judge, I'm absolutely gonna. I'm gonna.
Now.
Yeah, it's.
So, to explain, we have the 1209 White Oak Lane is the first point, that's the green dot down here, and then we just work our way down the left-hand side of the screen with the event number, because each one of these entries has a different event number. So the first event number is 941, the time is 6:30:03 a.m., we have that here. Then we go to event 947, that's 59.9 miles per hour at 6:31:33. We see on the map where that is. And so this kind of just takes us down to just before the crash event 956. That's 6:33 and 48 seconds, 43.1 miles per hour. Then we know the crash based on the school bus video and the testimony already, 6:33:57, so we can see that. And then it's her returning home to, moving on, 980, she's going 4.7 miles per hour just outside or just inside her apartment. Then 982, 0 miles per hour. That's, if I zoom in on the map, we can see. And then I put the address of her apartment, which is 2050 Oleander. That's where the car was found, Oleander Boulevard is the same place. So it shows, I mean, this is obviously a vehicular homicide leaving the scene. So where the car went and when it was at certain points is relevant. So this is just that information put up on a map.
Mr. Stone, your objection?
My objection is relevance, it's hearsay, because it's not a document created by the witness. This is created by the state, who essentially is now testifying by creating this document to outline the track. It would be different if the person testifying to this was a person who actually put together that document. He didn't do that. So we're essentially allowing the state to testify through this witness about what my client may or may not have done, and it's inappropriate.
That's what the data shows. It's not hearsay.
But it's the data has the pinpoints. Data doesn't have a map. The witness didn't create, saying based upon this data that of what I downloaded, I created this map that shows the route in which she traveled. It's created by him.
Judge, I don't know.
Mr. Miller, just so I understand.
Yes.
The map, you are asking to use it how?
Yes, to put everything in context. Like, so we see.
But is it your intention that the map become a piece of evidence?
No,
or a
it-
demonstrative
it's-
aid to
it's
help
a-
them understand?
It's a demonstrative aid because although we have the raw data, it's not in a digestible format that any person looking at a bunch of GPS coordinates would understand.
So you are just wanting to put the map up with the testimony and go
Yes.
through the GPS spots to help them understand the information that is contained in states 13.
And along with that, yes, along with that, showing her relative speeds at different points on this point of travel. Right?
Which are all contained in states 13.
Which are all contained there. Of course, I didn't put every last point because then it's just a bunch of blue dots going all the way up. So I'm just trying to pull out a couple sample target points, so we can see, and then when we get closer to the crash, I have a few more points clustered around there, and then it spreads out again. And so we know the time she's on the road, and we know the time she pulls into her parking lot, and we know the time of the crash, so that kind of anchors our understanding of her path of travel. We can see the speeds, we can see the location, and I don't think there's any legal basis to preclude the state from putting a map of the scene as a demonstrative aid before a jury, because that's not, the court can take judicial notice, and I would ask the court to take judicial notice that this is a map of Fort Pierce and the Oleander area. And I'm just taking plots that are in evidence and now putting it onto a map.
Judge, the problem is, I have no, historically and legally, witnesses can use demonstrative aids that may assist the jury. But typically, they are demonstrative aids that are created by the witness, not by the lawyer, because then the lawyer is now testifying. Had the witness said, I created a Google map of the track from using the GPS coordinates that came out on the printout, I'd probably have no objection to it because the witness is created. He's created it. And he has now selectively decided what he wants to put in and essentially testify to the jury.
Mr. Stone, how is this any different than attorney bringing poster boards in to show a jury to help them better understand their argument on the evidence? It is created by the attorney or somebody in their office based on evidence that's entered, which this is, just to help the jury better understand what you're presenting to them. How is that any different?
Judge, that argument is typically made in closing, which is...
Understood. Which the poster board is not in evidence, the map is not in evidence. It's just something to help and aid the jury in understanding the actual evidence, which is the information on 613.
Judge, I understand the argument in your statement, but it's different because this is evidence based on that he is supposedly downloaded and is provided. It's not accurate for what he did in providing all of this information.
All right, your objection is noted. I will overrule the defense objection. I'll give you a standing objection to it so you don't have to raise it again. It's already on the record. Are you both ready for the jury to return?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So here.
Yeah. States 13 that was marked for identification is now in evidence over the defense objection. Read that. States 13. all members of the jury have returned to the courtroom. Everybody please be seated. Mr. Miller, you may continue your direct examination of the witness.
Yes, sir, and if I didn't before, the state would request to move states 13 into evidence.
It's been previously marked as states 13 for identification, now in evidence is states 13.
And the state would request to publish states 13 to the jury at this time.
You may.
And if Your Honor could instruct them on the redacted as it's been.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're about to view a document. The court instructs you that the document has been edited to eliminate irrelevant portions that would not add to your understanding of the case. The fact that the document has been edited should not concern you in any way and must not impact the way that you view and consider this evidence.
All right. Deputy Garduno, do you see the screen behind you?
Yes, sir.
Do you recognize this is what has been now put in evidence in states 13? So I want to take you down to the third page.
Yes, sir.
Just the top section details.
Yep.
What is this telling us?
So basically, this is the data you collect from within the vehicle. Obviously, this coincides with the vehicle. That way you know that this actually belongs to the vehicle. So what you have here is the date that this actually occurred, what kind of model it is, the manufacturer, the ECU, which it means basically the computer within the system, and then this solidifies, obviously 2017 Chevrolet, obviously made by GM, and the VIN number. We confirm that the VIN number obviously is with the VIN number outside of the vehicle. Again, and then it tells you what kind of vehicle it is, the case number, and again the model.
And when you said the date this happened, it says 9/30/21. Is that the date that this was downloaded?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, I want to take you down to page 4 of the exhibit. Help us first, because we have these columns here. Just can you explain what each column is, why it's significant, starting with the left-hand column ID?
Yes, sir. Actually, may I stand? It would be easier for me to stand. Apologize. There we go. All right, so right here what you have is an ID. The ID is associated with the date and time. Right here what you have is the date, you have the time. What's most importantly is you have the time that's in UTC. Every vehicle is presented through UTC. Every vehicle does not, you don't have the option of changing it to say Eastern time or Western time. I know that you see that on your end, but the computer, to keep uniform time, it keeps it in UTC. So you'll see the UTC time with the date and the time associated. What you'll have over to the right is you'll have your GPS coordinates, which you'll have your latitude and longitude. If you scroll over to the right,
Yes, sir.
yep, right here. And then it'll tell you how long the distance was within that Latin long and the miles per hour.
Okay. Let me just go back to UTC. So
Yes,
how
sir.
do we convert UTC time to Eastern Standard? How many hours?
Roughly 4 hours.
Okay.
Yep.
So if this entry 941
Yes, sir.
says September 23rd, 2021, 10:30:03 a.m., what
Check.
time do we understand that to be?
6:30 a.m. Eastern time.
Eastern time.
Yes, sir.
All right, and then as we scroll back across, you said the distance column, it shows 0.2, 0.1,
Yep.
0.2. What is that again?
So, like, let's just put it in instance. Let's say you're traveling on 95 and you're traveling at 40 miles an hour for 2 miles. It would tell me you were traveling at 40 miles for 2 miles within that GPS location.
Okay. All right, so I want to take you to, yes. I'm going to scroll, actually, scroll down to event 947. All right, let me pull that. All right, so 947. What time, Eastern Standard Time would this be?
6:31 with 33.
Okay. And then if I scroll across
Yes, sir.
and put the latitude and longitude in a program that actually charts it on a map,
Yes, sir.
is that where the vehicle it was at the time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then the speed, I believe it was this column here. How fast was the vehicle traveling?
59.9.
Miles per hour. Okay. All right, I want to go down to events 955 and 956, which are the last two events on this page. Those okay. All right, so at event 955, that would be 6:33 and 33 seconds, so second to last event.
Yes, sir.
How fast was the vehicle traveling?
22.9 miles per hour.
Okay. And then we see the next event, 956, that's 10:33:48.
Yes, sir.
So that's the very next event. How fast is the vehicle traveling?
43.1 miles
Okay.
per hour.
And then we get to event 957, that's at now 6:34 and 3 seconds.
Yes, sir.
How fast is the vehicle traveling?
40.8 miles per hour.
Okay. And then event 958, this is now 6:34 and 18 seconds. How
Yes, sir.
fast is the vehicle traveling?
56.3 miles per hour.
Okay. Would it be helpful if I was able to put these GPS coordinates on a map so we could see the relative distance between each point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So I want to begin at 1209 White Oak Lane in Fort Pierce, and I have that marked with this green tab here. And then do you see where Oleander Avenue is in relation to the green tab? And I know you're not from St. Louis County, but
Yes, sir.
okay, that would be this road running north to south over here.
Right.
All right, so then we get to the first data point, which was event 941. And I know you don't, do you have a copy of the,
I do not.
do you have a copy of the exhibit? Sorry, if I may. I want to make sure you have what I have. All right, so.
Okay.
All right. So at event 941, the
Yes.
time was, what does it show?
The time shows 6:30 with 0.03.
Okay. 03 seconds?
03 seconds.
6:30 and 3 seconds.
Yes,
And
sir.
the speed at that event?
As there's no speed, that possibly could be anything from the car powering up to, remote starting from outside if it has a remote start, so it has no speed or
Okay.
no distance.
All right. So let's go. Is that the only event in this track that does not list the speed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so all the other events for every point in time list the speed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's go to the event 947, which we see is north on Oleander of the prior event.
Yes, sir.
What was the time?
It was UTC 1031, which is 6:31 and 33.
Okay, and the speed at that point?
59.9 miles per hour.
Okay. Oops. And then go to the next. All right, now zoom out. All right, so we're now at this event that's highlighted, event 955. So we see it's a bit north of the prior event. What is the speed at event 955?
The time for that is at 6:33 with 33, and the the speed is 22.9 miles per hour.
Okay. And do you see this in relation to where we're at on Oleander to Skylark Drive?
Yes, sir.
About 3 streets up? Okay.
Yes, sir.
I want to go to the very next event, 956,
Okay.
which is at Oleander and From Our Place.
Okay.
What is the speed at that event?
The speed is 43.1 miles per hour.
Okay. And the time?
The time is 6:33 with 48.
Okay. And then I've only marked here at 6:33:57, Oleander and Skylark. And the next event is event 957,
Okay.
just north of Skylark.
Okay.
What was the speed
The speed was 40.8 miles per hour.
and the time?
6:34 with 0.03.
Okay. event 958, which is the next event, and let me pull out the map so we see. All right, so we can see on the map now in relation to where Skylark is, and the prior event, now we have event 958.
Yes,
What
sir.
was the time and the speed?
6:34 and 18, and it was 56.3 miles per hour.
Okay. All right. Now we have both 962 and 975. Let's start with 962. What is the speed at event 962?
12.7 miles per hour.
All right, and we see that occurs at, it appears to be an intersection of Oleander and Edwards
Correct.
Road. Would that be consistent with seeing maybe a drastic reduction of speed at
Judge,
intersections?
I'm gonna object, it's leading, I've given him a lot of leeway.
Would it be?
Leading and speculation.
Okay. What might cause, well, do vehicles have to stop at intersections because of red lights?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and does stopping cause a deceleration?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I want to jump ahead here to event 978, which is past Edwards and just past Virginia. What's the time at event 978?
6:40 with 48.
So that's 6:40 in the morning and 48 seconds, and what's the speed?
30.4 miles per hour.
Okay. And do you see on the map the intersection of Oleander and Southern Avenue?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I want to take us. Good event 980.
Okay.
Where does this event log in relation to Southern Avenue on the map?
Judge, I'm gonna object, it causes speculation.
On the map.
Judge, I renew my objection, speculation.
Mr. Miller,
Yes, sir.
the jury can make their own determination as to where on the map
Oh, yes, sir.
he pulled the info from the car.
Yes, sir. Okay. So at event 980, what is the miles per hour?
4.7 miles per hour.
Okay. And the time?
6:41 and 18.
Okay. And then the next event is logged as 982.
Yes, sir.
And what is the speed at event 982?
0 miles per hour.
Okay. And what is the time?
6:42 and 15.
Okay. And would 0 miles per hour on the data indicate the vehicle is not moving?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right, I have no further questions. Thank you.
Cross examinations.
Yes, sir. Deputy, let me ask you, when you did the data download, you didn't look at a map as to the location of the vehicle, correct?
No, sir. My job is to extract the data from the vehicle.
So you extract the data, and all you do is extract the data and you pull out the raw numbers, right?
Yes, sir. And I also explain to deputies. I help them. I assist them with the information, just like I did here,
Okay.
understanding the columns and what the data
Fair enough.
signifies.
You extract the data.
Yes, sir.
Did you at any point in time, part of this data deals with, so let's look at it this way. We can pinpoint locations throughout this country and anywhere in the world based on a 10-digit grid coordinate,
Yes, sir.
or we can use latitude, longitude, correct?
Correct.
And both may be very accurate about your particular location.
Yes, sir.
Here, for this information, it's latitude, longitude.
Correct.
All right. Do you have any devices in your department that gives you access to, I can plug in latitude, longitude, and figure out exactly where I am on the ground?
Well, actually, the
That's a
software.
yes or no question, sir. Do you have any devices in your office that you can take out and put in a latitude, longitude, and figure out where you are on the ground?
Yes.
Okay. Having that device, did you take that device in this particular case and go point by point as the state just directed you to see where you were on the ground, latitude, longitude, for what you just testified to?
No, sir. Again, my job was to
Sir,
extract the
yes,
data.
no question.
Yes, sir.
Did you do that?
No, sir.
All right. So what you testified here to today is the first time that you've ever done that for this.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, that GPS or latitude, longitude opportunity, when you talk about event 955, when she's traveling 22.9 miles an hour, you have no idea as you sit here today what the speed limit is on that road for that particular location, do you?
No, sir.
So the jury should not take any inference from the speed that she was doing, Mrs. Cologne, was doing anything wrong.
Objection. Dave's province of the jury.
I'll rephrase it. Based upon your knowledge of your data download, is there anything that indicates that Mrs. Cologne was violating the traffic rules of the road?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, when we go to event number 956, same question. She's traveling 43.1 miles an hour. Do you have any information based upon your data download, your investigation, that at that particular point on the ground, she was violating any traffic rules of the road?
No, sir.
All right. So you don't know if she was driving in a straight line or weaving in and out of the lane, do you?
No, sir.
You don't know if she was braking for or slowing down because a rabbit crossed the road or because she saw some other obstacle in the road, do you?
No, sir.
All right. So we then go to data event 958, where she's traveling 40.8 miles an hour. You see that? Event number 958.
56.3, sir.
I'm sorry, you're right. Event 958 is 56 miles an hour.
Yes, sir.
Do you know what the speed limit is in that area?
No, sir.
You have no idea.
No, sir.
Never visited that particular place in the city of Fort Pierce, did you?
No, sir.
No clue.
Nope.
All right. So you can't sit here and make any inference that although she may be traveling 56 miles an hour, that she was doing anything in violation of the rules of the road, right?
No, sir.
How many years have you been on law enforcement?
10 years.
10 years. You spent how much time with the police academy?
Sorry?
You were trained initially with the police academy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then after the police academy, you were employed by an agency.
Yes.
And so when you're employed with any agency, you typically spend some time as road patrol, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. And in road patrol, so this jury's clear, you understand what the rules of the road are because you're looking for people who are violating those rules.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. So as we sit here, we don't know what the speed limit is in the area of that longitude latitude.
No, sir.
All right. Now, event number 962. She's traveling at 12.7 miles an hour.
Yes, sir.
Based upon your testimony here today and what we viewed on the map, that appears to be an intersection, right?
Correct.
And so, in regards to what you would expect a driver to do, based upon your experience and training being on the road, you would expect a driver who's coming up to an intersection to slow down, stop, yield right away, and comply with the rules of the road, right?
Yes, sir.
So what you're indicating by your testimony is that when she slows down to 12.7 miles an hour, she's actually doing something right.
Objection. Calculation.
Sustained.
Okay. What you're testifying to at 12.7 miles an hour coming upon an intersection, that's what you would expect a driver to do, right?
Correct.
All right. Now, on event 978, she's traveling at 30.4 miles an hour.
Yes, sir.
Do you know where that is on the streets of Fort Pierce?
No,
City of St. Lucie County?
I do not.
No clue?
Nope.
You don't know if it's an intersection or if it's a straight line road, do you?
No, sir.
Okay. Same thing for event number 980, where she's at 4.7 miles an hour. Do you know where that location is?
No, sir.
No clue.
No, sir.
Do you know where she lived at the time of this accident?
I did through the actual leading investigator.
Okay. As you sit here today, do you recall where she lived?
No, sir.
All right. Do you know how far her apartment complex was from where this accident occurred?
No, sir.
No clue.
No, sir.
So you don't know if that when she's slowing to 4.7 miles an hour, it's because she's turning into her apartment complex or navigating the street in her area, do you?
No, sir.
Now, based upon your experience and training as 10 years on the road, right? Or 10 years as a deputy,
Yes, sir.
law enforcement officer.
Yes, sir.
How many years did you spend as a road patrol officer?
4 years.
4 years as a road patrol officer.
Yes, sir.
So this jury is clear. Explain to them what your duties and responsibilities are as a road patrol officer.
Priorities is call for service. Obviously, when you call 911, we respond to your house, make sure everything that's okay, try to figure out what's going on. That includes traffic, includes investigations on the road. It's a numerous things. Every day is something different.
And so as a road patrol officer, you are familiar, you're given an assigned area, right?
Yes, sir.
You become familiar with the traffic control devices in the area, meaning
Yes, sir.
stop signs,
Mm-hmm.
stop lights,
Mm-hmm.
yield signs. Here's my question. Based upon your training and experience, drivers can, when drivers see an obstacle, what's been your, based upon your training and experience, interview of individuals, what's a driver's response usually when they see an obstacle?
Objection, relevance.
Approach.
Good? All good. All right. Hang it out. Deputy, in your download,
Yes, sir.
was there anything available in your download that talks about phone calls?
No, sir.
Anything available in your download that talks about whether the radio was on or off?
Actually, if you go to the last page of this PDF form, it would actually tell you when the vehicle was turned on, put in park, stopped, complete. There might be a list of if the radio was on or no.
Okay, did you provide that?
Yes, sir.
It's provided in what you have in front
Not
of
in this. It's in the full summary of the raw data.
you? All right, and then in your download,
Yes, sir.
just so I'm clear, the initial place,
Mm-hmm.
first stop on your download, did you ever go out to that location?
No, sir.
When in your download, is there anything in the download that shows that a warning was given to the driver about the car having an impact or being involved in an accident?
No, sir.
Nothing was available.
No, sir.
And here's the thing: OnStar,
Mm-hmm.
OnStar, you've known Tesla, you would agree with me, Tesla is one of the few manufacturers that don't allow you to download their equipment, right? Their information.
Actually, that's not true, sir. Tesla's they're very forthcoming with their information.
You're right. They're forthcoming
Yes,
with
sir.
it, but you have to send it to them for them to do the analysis and send it back to you.
They'll usually send you a form like this PDF, and they're pretty quick
Right.
about it. Yes,
They
sir.
do the analysis and send it back.
Correct.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So you can download it, but what you download, you don't know what you have because
Correct.
you have to send it out to them.
Yes, sir.
So essentially, Tesla controls all of their information.
Yes.
Okay. In this particular case, OnStar, do you remember what kind of car we're dealing with here?
Yeah, it's a Chevy, I believe, a Cruise.
And can we ask that the state take down their string when they're not using it? It's distracting.
Yeah, I don't want to waste time by connecting, disconnecting, but that's fine. I put up blank screens. Yes, sir.
Do you remember what type of vehicle we're dealing with here?
Yes, a GM manufacturer car. Yes, sir.
Do you remember the exact make and model?
Not off the top of my head. I'd have to look back at the.
Okay. It's a GM vehicle.
Yes, sir.
You say GM vehicle.
Yes, sir.
So GM, Ford, they all have their certain process in which how they need the information to be downloaded, correct?
Yes.
Right. And in this case, we have OnStar.
Correct.
Do you receive training directly from OnStar or a subsidiary of OnStar?
No, I received training through Burla IV, which is the manufacturer of the software.
Okay. And isn't it true that OnStar, based upon their information and equipment, typically if a driver is in an accident, it will notify the driver and reach out to the driver about an accident if they have OnStar?
Depends on the make and model.
Okay. Did that exist for this make and model?
I don't believe so. I believe it was too much of an older vehicle.
Did you check?
No, sir.
You didn't check.
No, sir. I
So
believe
when
it.
you say you don't believe so, that's a guess because you never checked to verify to tell this jury that
Right.
that information didn't exist or did exist, right?
Correct.
All right. So we're clear. You did not check to verify if that information was available for her OnStar and her cruise on that particular day.
For the 911 call, sir?
No, for the OnStar 911 call to the driver
No,
saying you've been in an accident.
I did not verify that. No, sir.
Is there any other information available based upon your infotainer download that says Mrs. Colon had noticed or warning that she was involved in an accident at that particular day and time?
No, sir.
No further questions.
Any redirect?
No, sir.
Is Deputy Garduno released?
Yes, sir.
Mr.
Yes.
Deputy, that'll conclude your testimony in this trial. You're free to go.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, counsel. Ladies and gentlemen, because we only have 20 minutes until the lunch hour, I'm going to let you go for lunch instead of starting a witness and then sending you to lunch in the middle of that witness. So leave your pads face down, keep those badges on. You have not reached the point of the trial where you can discuss the case and interview each other. Enjoy your lunch. Be back by 1:15, please, downstairs. council, anything you need to address before we break for lunch?
No, sir. No, sir.
All right, for your lunch, council be back ready to go. I want to be in the seats with the next witness by 1:30.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
1 o'clock, right? 1:30?
Once the juror's back 1:15 and the next witness going by 1:30.
Recess,